Hi, welcome to Adventures Lollygagging. We're playing Delta Green. It's been a couple weeks, but we're back. All these people have been reading careful instructions on how to not get arrested because where we left them was in a very precarious position. It's very interesting. Delta Green is very stressful to run sometimes. I'm thinking, okay, if they do this, I gotta remember that. If they do this, I gotta remember that. And then this, and then, oh shit, they're already off the fucking train, like 5 seconds into the whole operation. It's great. It's fantastic. Chapter 2 has just gone off.
Pokey.
We never even got on the rails. It just went off the rails so fast. It was great. So before I get into that summary, a couple other things we do here. We play games Mondays, Fridays, Saturdays. Fridays, we try to play Delta Green every week when we can. Saturdays, we're playing Worlds Without Number. And Monday, we alternate between Alien and Things from the Flood. And we have a new game coming soon, probably sometime in July, that we'll talk about later when we know when it's technically coming. But why don't we have everybody introduce who you're playing, some sort of interesting fact about them, or
what did we do that was illegal last episode?
Or what kind of screwy, like what horrible thing could potentially happen to you within the next 15 minutes of our session. So Ashley, we start with you.
So I'm playing Agent. Oh, I got disconnected from Foundry.
It's okay, it'll come back.
I am playing Agent Chelsea. The last time you guys saw me, this door appeared in my hotel room that wasn't there originally. And so I took shelter in the bathroom, obviously with my gun. This person approached me. I shot at them. And I called Agent Vessel in a panic. And he found me drowning in a bathtub.
These are all facts of what happened last time. It's indeed what happened. And he took his time checking out the bathroom too. And he wandered in. He's like, "Oh, water on the ground. Never mind. Let me go look over here. Look over there." Like, if I was hoping, like, all right, I go back into the hallway, and then 2 days later, we read on the news, we found Agent Chelsea's body floating. Whew, could have been terrible. But speaking of Agent Vessel, what do we know about him? What's the name of your bar again?
Name of the bar is Miles Vials.
Yeah.
Newly opened.
Yeah.
Retired FBI agent now.
Retired, yeah. Do you still carry? Do you still carry a weapon?
I still carry. It just feels natural.
Okay. Do you have one on you right now as you are wandering through what I imagine is the best Western?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I always have it on me.
All right. And you're licensed to carry?
Indeed.
Okay. All right. We're going to start with the two of you. So I want you all to think carefully, like, because stuff's going to happen. But
yeah.
The other two, the bottom row, they were somewhere else entirely. So Derek, Agent Album, who are you? And where were you and Melissa at last time?
Yeah. So I'm Agent Album, a retired physicist, I guess. His favorite food is salsa with a nice like cheese quesadilla, and he's currently sitting in the back of a patrol car, and the most terrible thing that could happen to him in the next 15 minutes is getting shot by the police. He, against his better judgment, helped Agent Fawn look at some discarded car parts in a backyard, and then he chucked a rock at a vehicle to create a distraction. And got caught by the pigs.
Yeah. Retired physicist, current TikToker. Okay. I like that. Excellent. And then finally, Agent Fawn. Why are you here? Like, why are we at Agent Exeter's home? What led you to want to come here?
He was acting suspicious.
Okay. All right. Do you remember how he was acting suspicious?
Just super close-lipped and just not really given a whole lot of information. So seemed like a good idea to follow him. And then he had a box with Abigail Wright's name in the back of his SUV.
Who is this Abigail Wright person you're referring to?
Well, I mean, just central to Chapter 1 and the start of Chapter 2.
Sure. She was the missing young artist in 1995 back in New York when we first started this campaign. Okay. So let's just do a quick catch up because it's been 2 weeks for us. So just remember, we are 20 years past our Chapter 1. So Chapter 1 was 1995. We are 2015 now. You guys are all 20 years older. You're in your 50s. Hair's graying, skin's wrinkling, all that kind of stuff. cholesterol is a little bit higher than you probably want it to
I'm
be.
in my sexual prime.
Chelsea is cougaring it up.
Yep.
And you all haven't been really part of each other's lives for those 20 years. You've gone off and done your own thing. Some of you have radically changed your jobs in that time span. You've still done work for Delta Green when you've been activated. But this is the first time all of you have seen each other again or been on a job together at the same time. And you were brought together in Boston at a restaurant called the Gateway Bridges restaurant. And you were brought here for a birthday party, but eventually you met with a man who called himself Agent Exeter. And he, as Melissa was saying, was a little peculiar. He smelled a lot of gasoline. His fingers were kind of covered in grease and stuff. He had this weird kind of paper crunching sound whenever he walked. He had a way of being not necessarily not being straightforward, but being a little bit elusive or with his answers to questions. But he gave you all a job. And you were activated, and your job is to investigate the disappearance of 4 psychiatric patients from the Dorchester House, which, as you all learned, is a very well-regarded facility that mainly deals with very serious, often violent mental illnesses, and frequently works with people who are ex-law enforcement, ex-military, ex-fire department, that kind of stuff, high trauma or high stress industries. And one of the reasons you were called to this is because on the walls of one of those missing patients' room was a message that mentioned Abigail Wright, that she's gone across the sea. And so you were called in. It was kind of creepy. He didn't really talk about Abigail Wright. He just wanted you guys to investigate it. He gave you a card for Dr. Dallin to contact him. He runs the facility. He gave you this old school satellite phone if you needed to contact the group. And that was basically it. Fawn trailed him back to his house. I think it was Vessel and Chelsea who hung back and started going through some files, found the identifications, the names of the 4 missing patients. As you were going through some of their online data, like some of their pages, Vessel came across a really peculiar line in one of the on a web page, on a faculty page, for one of the missing patients that corresponded to the King in Yellow play that Chelsea has read, apparently. You also noticed too, Chelsea, that the handwriting on the inside, this hidden portion of your invitation to this birthday party, matched some of the handwriting that was in the margins of the Hydromantea, which was a book on demonology. Do you remember how you acquired that book, Ashley?
That's the book that I found in the chest that was just like I was in the hallway and arms just reached out of a supply closet and just set it down. And then I went and I investigated it and there was nothing there.
Nothing creepy about that at all. Nothing strange.
I totally did not have a nightmare about that.
And now 20 years
because I sleep next to the closet in my bedroom.
Don't even get me started about the things I see in the night since I started running this game. Okay, so that's one thing. And that's the same, it's the same handwriting as this guy who, according to the invoice for the restaurant, his name is Marbus, even though that's not the name that he gave you, which was Exeter, which in itself is not the most uncommon thing in the world. But then Fawn, while you were investigating the home and while you were kind of surveilling his home, you learned that the name was Elias Barbus, who, so you have 3 different names for this guy who you met. Mm-hmm. Some other interesting things kind of happened. Back in 1995, Album found these napkins that had these weird mechanical drawings on them, and it had this insignia for GBR, the Gateway Bridges restaurant, only those napkins, they didn't start using until this year in 2015, yet you saw them 20 years ago in Abigail Wright's apartment. And those same napkins were found in the back of Agent Exeter's vehicle that Fawn broke into as the cops rolled up. And it was like midnight in his neighborhood. So lots of little things that we have to consider. But before we get to the outside of Agent Exeter's home, we're going to resolve a little bit, at least, of what's going on inside of our Best Western, somewhere outside of Boston, where we are now in a room. It's Chelsea's room. We'll call it third floor, let's say. And Chelsea, you're probably still damp from your time in the bathtub when you were submerged beneath the water, hiding in a dark room, midnight. Vessel, you came in after scaring the crap out of a hotel worker and getting a universal key, like a security key, to open her room. You come in, you look around, you look inside the bathroom, you see Chelsea in the water. You see her gun nearby. You see a bunch of bullet holes in the walls. You get her out. You manage to do some quick CPR or something like that, get her breathing. And then within a few moments, not very long, just a couple minutes, you notice through the curtains of the room, you see blue and red lights. And when you peek out the window, Vessel, you see that there are multiple cars, police cars, right outside the entrance to this Great Western. And you see cops coming out of those cars and charging in to the lobby because gunshots just rang out in the middle of the night. And that's where we're going to start. So I'm going to start with Vessel, because Vessel, I think obviously, Chelsea, you're not feeling too great, I would imagine, right now.
Oh.
And you're a little bit out of it. But Vessel, what's going through your mind right now? And what are you doing, man?
Yeah, first get the situation under control as best I can and get a better understanding of it. So I'll get a hold of Chelsea, see if she's coherent, knows where she is. Like, are you all right?
And I have a disorder fugue state. So would you say I'm probably in that right now?
No, I say you're coming out of it. I think the fugue state was more of a what happened between the moment where you fired your gun and Vessel just found you in the bathtub. That's what's like, I don't know what just happened, but you're back now. Freaking out, soaking wet.
Yeah.
You know.
I think Chelsea would probably do then is she would immediately start gathering the files. And she doesn't want to be there anymore because the creepy door was in the ball, and she's ready to go. Can we go to yours?
Just take a moment, take a breath, and we'll get out of here as clean as possible. So it's possible to get a change of clothes, just like, or stop the dripping at least.
Okay. How much time do you want to spend to do that? When you looked out the window, you literally saw cops rolling up, running out of their cars and running into. Now you're on the third floor.
Okay. First I want to get the gun then.
Okay, you grab a gun, no problem.
I want to see if there's like a fire exit plan.
There is in fact a fire exit plan. Yeah, you can identify where the staircases are. Yeah, there's two different staircases, one on either end of a long north-south running hall. You are. Let's roll a luck test, Chelsea, to see whether or not if you pass, you're relatively close to the staircase. If you fail, you're like dead in the middle and super far away from both staircases.
Oh God. Okay. Where is it? Just a D100, right?
Yeah, just D100. And if it's 50 or under, you're relatively close to some staircases. Crit fail.
Oh, okay.
Crit fail. Okay. I'm going to carry that crit fail forward for some other reason. But yeah, I'm going to say you're right next to, you're the first room next to the elevators. So like, this is like one of the first rooms that they're going to look at if they come up the elevators.
Sure. Then we'll just leave as soon as she gets to the files.
Okay. So she scrambles, gets all her stuff. Okay. And
he's got my gun.
He's got your gun. You think you grab all of your stuff. We'll find out if you did later. And you guys are out into the hallway. You rolled an 88, not me. And you're out into the hallway. You've got the elevator immediately to your right. You can see it. To your left, you can see what looks like the vending area. Got ice. You got some kind of soda machine, etc. All the way to the left, which is to the north, we'll say there's a staircase, and all the way to the right, to the south, there's a staircase. What are we doing?
Oh, we're just gonna book it towards south, I guess.
Okay. So you start heading south, running as fast as you can. the hallway isn't like a perfectly straight line, but instead it has a little kind of bend or a nook and cranny here and there. And right as you move around one of those bends, you hear the sound of the elevator, bing, and you know that it's arrived the third floor. What's your alertness at there, both of you?
Mine's 23.
Okay.
80.
80. Okay, 80. You hear the sounds of like radio coming, and you know for a fact that some cops just got off.
Of the elevator?
Yeah, like you're ahead of them. They can't see you because like you went, like I said, you went around like a kind of a small bend and stuff. But it's you know, you would imagine it's perfectly possible for them to notice you really, really quickly.
Okay. When we make our way to the staircase, I'd like to listen in to see if anyone's coming up.
Okay. So you run. Are you trying to be quiet, or are you just trying to move as fast as possible?
Moving in the hallway, you mean? Or
yeah. Are you just trying to just move literally as fast as you possibly can, or are you trying to like not alert whoever might be behind you?
If they're not in view, not alert of them.
Okay.
Go sneaky.
All right. Both of you go ahead and roll sneaks. Yourself does.
Success 30.
Okay.
I failed.
Okay. All right. So you get about 3/4 of the way down the hallway, and you hear the sounds of the people talking, communicating, like, okay, I'm heading north, and like they're kind of communicating, kind of explaining to each other which way they're going. And right as you turn around and look, you see that Chelsea falls onto the ground, stumbles, and someone curves around the corner, that little nook and cranny, stares right down the hallway. You're maybe 10, 15 steps away from the staircase, and you're staring, we'll call it 70 feet away, at a cop. You see a kind of a stocky guy, probably about 5'8", 5'9", and he looks out at you and he sees you and he's like, hold it right there. He calls out to you and he goes and he reaches for a gun. What do you guys do?
Chelsea's on the ground, yeah.
What's that?
Chelsea's on the ground, you said?
Yeah.
She just stumbled, but she got up. I meant it was more like she
okay.
alerted. She alerted, yeah. What do you guys do?
There were gunshots.
Vessel, what do you do?
Yes, officer. Yes.
What seems to be the problem, officer?
He's like, I need you to stop right there, right now. Drop everything you have. Show me your hands. Show me, and slowly, and he kind of speaks into it. Hey, I need somebody else in the south hallway here. And you see, like, moments later, a couple more cops come up. So you guys are complying?
We'll comply, yeah.
Okay. And if that's the case, we're going to switch over to the other two for now.
Do you know how fast you were going, son?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So, at the Exeter's home, we're going to start with Album. Album, you are in the back seat of this state trooper car. There's this other guy who arrested you. He's got the door open. He's got the passenger front door open, but he's standing in it. He had moments ago just sort of radioed in for support for a second car, and you see now a second car start to roll up down the street. As it goes by Exeter's home, you can see it light up the driveway, and you can watch as Fawn and the other officer are now walking up towards the front porch of Exeter's home. But when you see this other trooper car lines up next to the one that you're in, window rolls down, roll an alertness plus 20. Let's see how well you hear over here. Okay, pretty well.
I hear good.
You hear good. So you can see as there's a little bit of light here and there. It's kind of looks like a Caucasian guy. You probably peg him in his 40s maybe. But he's not the first one to talk. It's actually the cop that arrested you, and you hear him kind of call out. It's like, what are you doing here, Doc? And this ain't your beat. And the guy in the car who just pulls up, he's just like, yeah, I heard something was going down at Barbara's house. Just want to check in, see if it's anything crazy again. And so like they start talking a bit. And with a 37, you overhear almost the entirety of this conversation. And what you basically get is that like the cop is referring to you as just some sort of crazy fucker, like just some crazy fucker throwing rocks into people's windows, whatever. And then there's some, I don't know, some woman, I don't know, maybe she knows Barbara's, maybe she doesn't. And then like the other guy's like, another woman? Like the guy who just showed up, Dawkins, he's like, another woman? He's like, first it's Detective Skahan, then it's whatever that hot smoking broad was we saw a couple months back, and now he's on to another one? I mean, the dude's like, he's like 60. And how does he do this? Like, this is insane. And so like there's a lot of that chatter kind of back and forth, and they sort of laugh at this point. But eventually like that other car pulls up, and that's like kind of all you basically hear. And the last thing they say is like, we're going to go talk to the owners of the vehicle in a moment here. And we'll shift instead as Fawn and this other state trooper go up to the front door. What's your alertness at there, Fawn?
22.
22? Okay. Okay. Roll a plus 20 alertness to see if you can get anything beyond the obvious. Okay. You got a few things.
Failure.
So as you step up, it's very dark. You do see that the cop actually gets a flashlight going because it's so incredibly dark. You have been surveilling Exeter's home for a little while now, and you don't recall seeing any lights on at any point. Like no overhead lights, no street lights, nothing.
Just like a lantern he was carrying.
Like a lantern he was carrying. You actually saw at one point he was wearing, like there was something on his head, almost like a mining helmet at one point. But the cop who's with you, he has a flashlight out, and you can tell that this front porch is pretty raunchy. In fact, it looks like it hasn't really been cleaned or used in some time. There's like dead leaves and stuff up here, some of which have been matted down from like rain. Others, like they look like they've been here for a really long time. There's mail all over the place. You can't tell specifically what they're for, but you definitely see the clear indications of like past due. You get the sense that this is not a place that's been used quite regularly. So as you come up, the cop kind of looks at you, and he's just like, last chance, if you got anything you want to say. And it just kind of gives you like a moment, like if you want to call this off and tell me what really happened, you can do it. He's like holding up his hand to the knocker on the door.
No, I mean, you can go ahead. And I'm going to kind of go into a story, and it's going to be jargon filled, by the way. I don't know that I'm going to know the jargon, but
okay. Jargon filled.
I think I'm going to go ahead and kind of use my actual identity.
Who you really are in real life?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so basically I'm just going to be saying that working on a research project, he said that he had some information for me. We just had a meeting. He's supposed to, give a couple of boxes. Didn't actually give the boxes of what we were supposed to be doing. And so I came over, knocked on the door, no answer, but I paid for the information. So like it is rightfully mine. And this was the whole point of us, kind of having this meeting, blah, blah, blah project, whatever. Okay. So basically trying to sell the idea that I was really just getting my stuff out of his vehicle and he just wasn't responsive.
Okay. Fair enough. Roll. Are you trying to you're trying to tell a story, right? So roll persuade. And I'll say that since you're lacing in some elements of truth, take a plus 20.
No.
And he just looks at you and he just chuckles and he's just like, that's a really good story. You should write that up. See if you could sell it to Hollywood or something. And then he knocks on the door really loud. And he's like, Dr. Barbas, sorry to disturb you. This is Massachusetts State Trooper. Gives his name out. Could you come to the front door here for a second, please, sir? Sorry for the late. And then kind of waits around. And then moments later, there's no answer yet. But suddenly you hear like this repetitive, very loud, very intense, like clanking. This metal, almost like machinery is starting to clank. The windows start shaking. The front door starts to shake. Even the cop kind of backs away, puts his hand to his gun, like, what the fuck is this thing going? And he freaks out a little bit. And then after that, you hear Exeter scream something. You can't, it's hard to hear with the sounds, but he screams something. You can hear his voice, and then the sounds instantly stop. And the cop's like, kind of looks at you, looks at the door, and he's like, all right, that's it. I'm going to put you're going in the car, and then we're going to see what, and then as he turns to grab your arm and escort you back to the car, the door opens up. And go ahead and roll alertness. No bonus to this, just straight alertness.
Yeah, my 22.
Okay.
And I failed.
All right. As the door opens up, you notice that Exeter has changed clothes from what he was wearing, like this basic suit he had on when you guys were in the restaurant. And instead, he's wearing what looks like a long, almost like ceremonial red robe. It's really, really dark inside. You cannot make anything out inside beyond him standing there, and you can't even really see all of him. Like, you can kind of see his face wherever because the cop kind of shines it right into his face, and the guy doesn't even really flinch, and he's like, "Oh, sorry, sir," and he just points it back down to the ground. But you're getting some, ambiance. You see a box that he kind of kicks behind the door, but you can't quite make out what was in it or what was on the side or anything like that. But Barbara just kind of stares out, looking at both the two of you, kind of this dead stare. And if you've forgotten what he looks like, let me go ahead and give you a look at him if you forgot. That's the wrong one.
I'm assuming at some point we would have had to like shown our IDs, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, if you're telling him who he is, yeah, like he wants your ID. We'll cover that later with albums, since albums situation is a little bit different. But after a moment, the cop's like, "What the hell was that racket?" And Exeter finally says, and when he looks at you, there's no sense of recognition in his face whatsoever. Like if you didn't know any better, you think he's never seen you before in his life. But there's also the same look when he looks at the guy. And the guy has a tendency. The guy, from what you understood, like from the cop, like he might know who
he's
this
been here
is.
before.
Yeah, and he just says, "It's the AC. Just it's been making a racket, been running it a lot." And the cop's like, he seems to be up. Yeah, it's been a hot summer. So listen, sorry to bother you so late, Dr. Barbas, but we found this woman, and he gestures over towards you at this point, in your driveway, and we found another man down the street. Man seems crazy, but this one here says she knows you. Is that true?
And I'm going to interrupt and go through my spiel of like, yeah, we just, we're just over at the restaurant. I paid for the information with the box, and then you didn't give me the box, and then I knocked on the door and there was no answer, and so I got the box.
And he looks at you like dead blank stare, no expression really at all. And it's like there's a long pause after your spiel, and like even the cop is like, okay. And it's like the heartbeats begin to accumulate to a point. And finally, Exeter says, we run in some of the same groups. Yeah. She was just leaving. And as he does that, he kind of like points down towards your car on the street, as if he knows exactly what you were driving, exactly where it's parked. And he points directly at it. And you notice that as he does so, the sleeve of his robe kind of pulls back a little bit, and you can see that there's these burn scars like right along his wrist that are almost imperceptible. But you wouldn't have noticed them if not for like the sleeve actually falling away. And so at a second, the officer just kind of nods, and he looks a little suspicious, but he's like nods. Is anybody in the house with you, Mr. Dr. Barbas? And he's trying to like look past into the darkness, and even sort of shines the light. And Barbas is just, no, I'm alone. Could you please not do that? It's fairly late. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. My apologies. Anyway, thank you for your time. And I guess he looks at you, and I guess, okay. And so Barbara just closes the door at that point. Just doesn't even sit around for the pleasantries of like goodbye, good night, etc. And the door closed. And the cop just like looks at you, and he's just like, "That's a weird guy." And so
that he is.
The two of you start moving out towards the street, and it's at this point, Fawn, that you notice that there's a second trooper here, and a couple of them look to be like loitering around the first, and you can see albums in the back seat. And when you come up, and like they kind of all say, "Hey, dog, how you doing?" And like, "Hey, Franklin," and they all kind of do something. He confirmed her story. I guess she's free. And like the other one's like, yeah, we were gonna go talk to the owner about this car thing. What are you doing, Fawn?
Oh, Fawn is really torn. We were kind of talking about this before stream, that I literally don't even know what name he's using right now.
That's true.
And so for me to be able to kind of claim that he's like an assistant or like here with me or something, I feel like that'd be really easy to poke a hole in that, because I don't even know his damn name. So I think given that, I think Fawn is just going to pick up the box and go to her vehicle.
Okay, you take the box and you go towards the vehicle. We'll move over then to the hotel, where about 70 feet away from Vessel and Chelsea, who are just a couple feet away from the staircase, there is a stocky cop who has pulled a gun out of his side. Isn't pointing at you at this point. He's just doing one of those kind of hand, like put your hands up, let me see them, down your hands and knees, that kind of stuff. Are you guys complying with this?
Before that, how far was the staircase from where we are?
Just a couple. It's just maybe like 7, 8, 10 feet behind you, something like that. A couple steps.
I will look at Chelsea here and look for what she's gonna do.
Okay, so you look over at the clearly deranged and kind of unsettled Chelsea. It's Chelsea.
Yeah, I've lost it still.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, she's just suffered. She nearly drowned.
Yeah.
She unloaded her gun into the wall. Doesn't remember any of this kind of stuff happening. She's had like this big blank. Dude, this is why I focused on you. It's like you're running the show here. You're the one who's got a coherent brain at the moment. So you're kind of making the calls.
Yeah. I'm just gonna comply here.
Okay. All right. I will say you do know that if you get rolled up, if you kind of get caught up in this, like it could be rough for you. So the cop slowly starts moving up towards you. You can see then are you guys getting on your knees at this point? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so he comes up. A couple more cops come up behind. They notice the gun. At this, they ask for, like, do you have a license for this? Are you registered? Da 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 da. So they go through all this song and dance, and as long as you guys aren't doing anything to resist at any point, you get.
Yeah, I'm not resisting. Okay. Comply.
Okay. Just want to know if you guys get arrested, like the mission's over. Okay. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man, you're in jail. You can't do anything if you're in jail.
Recover what though?
Fun
That's
is
what I'm trying to
fun has
think
all the
of.
penalties.
Well, that's what we're gonna find out. That's what we're gonna find out. Okay. And so they kind of put cuffs on you, and they're like, I want some identification. And so they start going through. Do you guys have ID on you?
Yeah, I have my one of my other IDs that I had used to check in.
Okay. All right. Do you have the key for the hotel?
Which one?
The
one I
like
got
your
or
room.
hers?
I don't.
Okay.
If it was with the thing, probably.
Okay. So the cop will just be like, "Are you guests here? Are you guests here?
Yeah. And then
What room? What room are you in?"
And I just hand him the key.
Okay. And it's got, so he'll be like, "What room was we find the shots in?" And they kind of shout it out, and like, it matches your room. Like if it's your specific room, like that's gonna match up. And you took Chelsea's gun as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so he takes the gun. He does one of those things where he pops out the magazine. It's like, yeah, we got some missing shots from here. I think we found her. Which one of you fired this?
And Chelsea just says she doesn't know. There was a man who came into my room, and he had me in the tub, and she's babbling and she's crying.
Okay. And he looks over to you. He's like, "Is this your wife, sir?"
No, just an acquaintance.
Were you there when the shots were fired?
They already fired when I got there.
Hey, officer, blah blah blah. He kind of mentions his officer. He calls out. It's like, we might actually have a second shoot on the loose here. Let's we got to get some backup in here. And they start calling out because now they're under this impression that you shot somebody and that there's somebody on the loose in the hotel. After a few minutes, you guys are led downstairs, and when you get into the hotel lobby, I'm gonna say, let me see, let me roll a little die here. I can't believe you guys complied. Okay, you get down to the lobby, and right by the hotel desk, you can see, Vessel, there's now tons of cop cars out. There's like 6-7 cop cars out there. The whole lobby is now filled with about 7 or 8 different people, and there's like a cop who's like interviewing the manager. It looks like the night manager, a couple of the other staff, and like as they walk you down, this guy points towards you, like, that's the guy who accosted me right there, and he kind of points over at you, and a couple of the cops kind of exchange some looks at you. Sir, did you assault this man? He's talking to you.
I merely spoke to him.
Okay.
He was in a, I guess, frightened state.
Okay. And so I was like, all right, I think we're going to wait for the detectives to show up here. So they go ahead. They spread everybody out at this point. They're finding like you got any rooms for us here that we can use, any kind of like conference rooms, things, anything like this. And so the hotel manager, so like they're all kind of going into a frizzy at this point. We're going to cut over. Man, you guys are making this so incredibly hard. So Fawn, what are you doing?
I want to... Would I still be in earshot of what's going on with Album? If
you said you
I
walked
go
away.
to where my vehicle is.
You said you want to watch your vehicle. If you watch your
Right.
vehicle, then no, you don't.
I will... Crap. I'm trying to think of a way to help him. Have they gone over to talk to the
You
neighbor?
see 2 of them are going up to the door now.
Oh goodness. All right, I'm gonna try to see if I can sell him as an assistant.
Okay. So you go back up, and you can see that the The cop that is kind of waiting by the car is one that you haven't spoke with before. It's not one of the original two. It looks like it was one of the support guys who came up. The two the one that brought you up to Exeter's home, the one that arrested Album when you guys first arrived, they're going up to talk to whoever owns the home where the vehicle's window is smashed. And the guy's like, "Ma'am, I think it might be best if you just head out. You know, just maybe not push your luck tonight." And he kind of you what's your human int at?
15.
Okay, roll a human int plus 20.
Isn't it human?
Human. God dang it! I keep doing that. Yeah.
I've been failing everything tonight.
He's got there's a look on his face, but it's hard to read what it is. Like, it's not one of like just straight like anger but there's something else to it, but it's hard to read exactly what it is. But what do you say to him?
I am going to, because my story's been corroborated, kind of by.
You're free to go. You're in the clear if you want to be.
I know, and then I'll be the only one working this mystery because
I don't want to meta too much, but I have a decent criminology thing, so I feel like I can make Album's situation work.
If you think you can manage it, then I'll not push my luck and let them do their.
All right. So you go back to your car and you drive back to your hotel, I'm assuming, or somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I have no reason to believe that anyone's still at the restaurant, so I would just go to the hotel. Okay, and I think you guys were all like, you guys weren't necessarily in the same hotels because you didn't know until the hotel that you guys were all here. So Yep.
If you want, roll a luck test. 1 to 50, it'll be the same hotel that Chelsea was in. 51 and up, it will be a different one. It's a different one. It's a different one. Okay. Album in the car. Go ahead and roll alertness. Just straight alertness to see if you can overhear any of the conversation that's happening outside.
Failed.
Yeah, you can't hear anything, but eventually, like, you can see they talk to a man. He looks to be a little bit upset. Obviously, more than once they point over towards your vehicle. You can see that there looks to be a woman and some kids that are like kind of poking out the windows as lights start to go on in the home as they're trying to watch what's happening here. But eventually, both of the original cops come by. The other cop starts to drive off. They get into the car with you, and they're like, "Hell of a night," and they drive you back to precinct, or whatever Boston refers to it as, and we'll montage you going through the process of getting arrested. They're working you into the system. Take fingerprints. You do your mugshot, etc., and they put you into a holding cell for the night, unless there's something in particular you want to do.
So I'm confused. It says first-time offenders are often just sentenced to pay a fine. So this holding cell will just be for the night until they work out the fine that I pay?
Yeah, it's like, right? It's literally past midnight. So I think it's one of those things where if this happened during the day, you might not have to go through this. But for now,
I would say that I think my criminology is only 30, but I think Album would be familiar enough to know the process where he's just going to keep it. Like, he'll do like muttering to kind of maintain like I'm in a different kind of headspace than most people, but he's not going to say anything to like self-incriminate or try and defend himself. He's just going to go through the process and just keep to himself.
As long as you're quiet and you keep to yourself, I mean, they're not like rough or rude with you or anything. They just go through the basic process. Why do I have to check Discord? Oh no! Why am I checking Discord, Ashley?
Just have a question, but I don't.
Oh god. I mean, you don't know. Maybe we'll see. You'll have to just make that decision, Ashley, when the time comes, if the time comes. Fawn, you go back to your hotel room and you sleep for the rest of the night. Good on you. Album.
I don't think I sleep well, and I have to roll for sleeping anyway.
Oh yeah, roll for sleeping.
I forgot.
1 o'clock in the morning rolls around. There's several cops now in the lobby of this Best Western. The general sense is that because there's no signs of blood anywhere, like you've overheard. The two of you have been kind of set in an area. I'm speaking to Chelsea and Vessel now. Several other witnesses, other people. No one's really been brought out of the room, the hotel just yet. You do see that there is a woman, kind of like looks like a lead detective. She's going around and she's kind of interviewing people, kind of getting their stories. So I guess my questions to you, because I don't want to necessarily role play out everything, is I just want to get the idea of what's the general story that the two of you convey. Like, what is it you're trying to say when they come around?
Pretty much I got there, saw there was distress, and just pretty much try to calm this person down.
Okay. So then I guess the question then is, a couple questions for you then, Vessel, is do you mention the fact that you're a former FBI agent? Do you pull on your past stuff at all, like your history as an FBI agent or anything like that? Do you just go by whatever kind of fake identity that you're working with for this operation?
Yeah, I can pull on that.
Okay.
I feel like it's safe to say.
Yeah, I think so too. I'll tell you what. Roll bureaucracy plus 20. And we'll see. Okay. Wow. You're like they check on you. They like it's late but it's not as late in Vegas, and so they call. You do kind of see like a weird look on the woman's face when you mention that you're out of the Vegas branch, like the detective. But at the end of the day, like at the end of the night, like it looks like they're satisfied that you weren't the shooter, and that you didn't necessarily do anything in particular that was too terrible. Like it looked like a misunderstanding. Like I think there is but it doesn't seem like your sway is going to help Chelsea at all, is what the failure is going to be. I think you're okay, but you're not going to be able to help Chelsea in any way. Chelsea, what are you trying to convey to them?
Chelsea's just sticking to the vagues that she remembers, is that somebody else was in her apartment.
Okay. Do you have a license for the gun?
I have a license to carry, yes.
This is the gun with the serial numbers, however.
Yep.
Okay.
It is.
And I'm going to say you're unfortunately going to be.
She'll put in like that. She had like a violent ex-boyfriend, and it was dark, but she thought it was her ex, and she reported her gun being stolen.
Mm-hmm.
And she thought it was maybe her boyfriend who took it.
I'm going to say they're going to Mirandize you. They're going to put you into a car, and they're going to take you, strangely enough, to the same police station that Album is at for a different reason.
Okay.
Vessel, it's a couple hours of sort of stress. You're not going to be able to get a good night's sleep. So it's going to be by the time morning comes, but like a little before dawn, you're kind of released at this point. They take your contact information, whatever name and number, like your cell phone number, all that kind of stuff. Where are you staying? In case they have further questions, etc. All of those things they have. So are you lying to them about what hotel you're staying at? Anything like that? And you said you were giving them the Eric Miles FBI agent name. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So are you lying about anything?
Where I am. No.
Okay. All right. And so then you are eventually set free. We're going to fast forward then to the morning, a couple hours later. This is going so crazy. Album. Eventually, this is a Wednesday morning. So like you said, it's what's the name of your alternate self?
Yeah. It's Marvin Hurwitz.
Oh God. All right. I'm just gonna roll something behind the scenes here. Okay. Are you continuing to spout like crazy nonsense or anything? Or are you just are you staying quiet the whole night?
So like no, nothing too disruptive. Like I'll still do like, like I guess weird tick like behavior and just some mutterings. But Album's more like calmed down.
Okay.
Once he was like in the cell and in like the metal beds or whatever they have in there, he calmed down some.
And do you like submit to like a breathalyzer and all that kind of stuff, sobriety tests, all that kind of stuff? Okay.
Yeah.
And all that comes up okay. Oh, actually no, because you had a drink or two, didn't you?
I had one drink, but that was before. That was at the restaurant.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it probably been a while since you actually got.
Considering the crime, considering that Marvin Hurwitz, according to the role I have, shows up the way you had it showed up, meaning that it's just a kind of forgettable name, and you're eventually released on your reconnaissance, like you're on your own reconnaissance. You do, like, as you said, you are going, it's like you spent the entire morning there. So like half your day is gone with this, and you have a hefty fine that you're going to have to pay. And apparently civil charges could be filed. And so they have your contact information. They reference the family specifically. See if I have their name for you. Well, let's say they probably don't give out the name. That would be stupid of them. And so, yeah, they reference that, but eventually you are released. However, Chelsea, it's a much more difficult day for you, considering what your crimes are. So they're going to ask you if you have a lawyer. Is there a particular lawyer that you have that you want to contact, or are you just going to submit yourself to like public attorney stuff?
I'm going to try and reach out to find like a Delta Green friendly.
Okay. You're going to reach out to Delta Green? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. To try to like get them to make this go away, or to just... There's only so much Delta Green will usually do in this type of situation, where like if you've kind of screwed the pooch on your own operation. So it's the question of, are you looking to them to kind of clean this up, or are you just looking to get some kind of lawyer here?
Like clean this up, does that mean I die? Or I'm like off the mission, or what?
Sometimes.
A man just walks in, shakes your hand. He's got one of those like one-way poison tapes.
Yeah,
and
he's
you
like
just
dead.
We see the door close off, and he just walks over to like the water cooler and just peels a little thing off his palm and drops it into the trash can.
Oh my god.
Meanwhile, you hear people shouting down the hallway, "We got it! Oh my god, can someone get a medic in here?" Okay, I'll tell you what, roll a law test.
Oh god, okay.
Let's see if you're able to. I
don't even have law.
Okay, roll it at plus 20.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I can't roll it without having anything in it.
Just give yourself temporary plus 20. That's fine.
Okay.
And then just delete it and put it back to 0. And okay, it is a very, very difficult story that you tell. Both of those are failures.
I was putting it at 0.
I'm gonna say for now, Agent Chelsea is off the board.
Okay.
So the other 3 of you, Fawn and Vessel, you guys have a normal morning time. What do you guys do?
Jeff, just to back up a little bit, because of my sleep disorder,
I definitely want to back up to that shit show.
Failed a SAN test.
Did you?
Yes.
Okay.
For whatever you would like to do with that.
What's this for again? What are you doing this for?
For my sleep disorder.
Oh,
Every
okay.
time I try to sleep, I have to roll a sanity test.
All right. Let me pull that up for you.
So I mean, I know what happens to me. I just don't know if something else happens with like losing SAN or anything.
What happens to you? I think you just don't get sleep, right?
Yeah, I wake repeatedly and
you can't regain willpower. Yeah. No, that's fine. That's
all right. Didn't know if this is like breaking point.
Nah, it's good. Okay. So Vessel and Fawn, you're at your respective hotels. You've both seen one of your crew arrested tonight or last night. It's morning time. We'll call it 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, something like that. What are the 2 of you doing?
Quick interruption. Would I be able to call either of them since I have their numbers once I'm out of the police station?
Yeah, I'm gonna say that like you'll get your phone call or something like that, and so if you wanted to notify them earlier, but you're probably not going to be fully released until midday.
Yeah, I would do that then. I would just like call Fawn and let her know like, hey, I'll probably be out by like 2 p.m. at the latest.
Okay.
Fawn is relieved that you're gonna be out. soon. And Fawn has no idea that anything went awry with anything else.
Okay, so that in mind, we know that album is eventually going to be okay. Chelsea they're going to throw the book at her, you know. They're going to make her the poster child. What do you guys want to do, Vessel and Fawn?
Fawn will probably try calling the sat phone.
Calling the sat phone?
Because Long was given a sat phone?
Yeah. You don't know how to call it.
Oh, we don't have the number for it.
No, you were given instructions it says to dial *616 to contact, but there was no specific number on the phone itself, like to call into the phone. You just know that that's how you dial out to it.
Okay. Then I will just try to call Vessel.
Okay.
Did we ever exchange contact?
I don't think so.
I remember we got to go through Album because he's a lunatic. But yeah.
Okay.
No, she should have the number because when I met up with her and we were eating the fast food in her car, I thought that well, I'm not too sure, but I know I have your guys' numbers, so.
Yeah, we gave Vessel our phone numbers, and then we asked you to give them to Fawn.
Just because I want to keep the game moving, you have his phone number. Go ahead.
Perfect.
Right,
I call Vessel.
Okay, so the two of you are on the phone together.
I'll explain the situation with Chelsea.
Oh shit!
And then
understatement.
I mean, I thought Album getting arrested for like throwing a rock in a car was bad.
Yeah, but they'll deal with her however. But we still have a case to look into. So I'm gonna plan on calling and go and visit this doctor guy. So if you want to meet up there.
I guess I will come to you.
Okay. All right, and I would say you get a phone call from from Album somewhat early in the morning saying he's going to be released. He's got to pay a fine. It's going to be a couple hours still, but eventually he'll be able to get out. You do not get the same phone call from Chelsea, however. Okay.
Oh, shit.
All right, so we'll flash forward then, and do the two of you meet up somewhere? And do you wait for Album to get out before you move forward?
Yeah, we'll wait for Album.
Oh, I might still do that at some point to old Twitch. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Posture check.
Posture check. Okay. Oh my god, my head just got cut off. All right. So you guys meet up. I missed your answer to my question. Did you say you wait for Album?
Yeah, we're gonna pick him up.
Okay. So you guys pick him up from the police station. All three of you are, we're going to say, for the sake of ease, are in the same vehicle for now. What do you guys do? Knowing that Chelsea is in the station, you still have this operation. Some weird shit was going down at Exeter's. What do you guys do?
Did Album see Chelsea in the same holding cell, or is Album unaware it currently? Because he hasn't been told by anyone yet.
Roll a luck test. We'll see if you happen to see her in the same cell.
99 critical fail.
Yeah, just
I was busy talking to the toilet.
We've got women.
Yeah,
and they're not
maybe
together.
maybe they separate it for men and women. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then once Album gets into the car with everybody, he'll kind of look around and say, "Where's the other one? What's her name?"
Give you the dates.
Okay.
It's bad.
Could I make a criminology roll to see like what the potential chart, like with the book being thrown at her, what that means?
Yeah, go ahead and roll it. Well, what's your criminology at?
30.
Okay.
I rolled a success.
There's two big things. I mean, one, she literally shot a gun in the middle of a place of business. And
I tried Googling what the charge is for an unlawful discharge of firearms, but Arizona, I think, is a a little bit different from Massachusetts.
I know, yeah.
America.
We're in the West, you know? But yeah, I mean, she's at the very least, she's facing like it's an illegal carry. She's got her weapon itself. There's going to be a charge associated with that. Plus, she claims that she shot somebody. So she's probably going to be embroiled in that kind of situation. There's no evidence to corroborate that story. So a lot of that is stuff that, so those two things alone are probably going to kind of keep her pretty pretty well locked up for a while.
Yeah, so Album would be able to surmise that she's not gonna be available for like weeks at a time.
It's possible. I mean, eventually she'll post bail. It's not like they're gonna keep her locked up for forever. Yeah. It's just like yours is a fairly simple process. Hers was way more complicated, and so there's likely gonna be more bells and whistles they have to jump through.
Album will ask who has the sat phone to the other two, because they'll kind of just rattle off like the minimal insight he has into criminology to them. But not that I guess Vessel would know it better than he would.
And I'll assume, I don't want to be a total dick, so I'll assume any of the stuff that Chelsea had, Vessel, you can have. Any like the operation related materials, like you could have taken it, Vessel. That's fine.
Okay, so I'll bring it up then.
Yeah. So you got this, like, it's an old school satellite phone. Like, this is not like a modern thing, but yeah.
Album will kind of look to Fawn and Vessel and say, like, okay, so our options are to use our own money and find our own criminal defense attorney to try and get Chelsea out sooner, or we leverage whatever standing we have with our friend and see if they have a criminal defense attorney that's potentially better. Which option do you both like better?
The friend as in our handler?
Yeah.
Who we can no longer consider a friend, I would say.
Oh, no, sorry. I mean, like, Album meant like using the sat phone to call Delta Green, but you're not supposed to say it out loud. That's why you said our friend.
Oh, okay.
So are you
let's
dialing?
Call the yeah.
Okay.
Let's
call Delta.
Let's call
okay, yeah. So he'll dial *616.
Okay. So it rings twice, and then you hear a voice, male, kind of distracted, a little bit of static on the phone, but it's just hello.
Yes, we need a contact for a damn, I just lost the word, for a effective and quick criminal defense attorney. Complication running an operation.
Okay. Anything else? Do you say anything else?
No, I'm hoping that they understand, between the line stuff with operation and, effective and quick CD or attorney. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Okay. You hear like there's a little bit of a pause, and then it is done, and then immediately hangs up.
Okay. I'm just gonna look at the phone and then kind of look at the Vessel and Fawn, and he'll just say, "It's done." And he just looks at the door, kind of half like wondering if Chelsea's actually gonna walk out.
Okay, like she's like, "I'm going to die." Yeah, that's it. Okay.
That's it.
So where are you guys when you make this phone call?
On the way to the doctor's.
Okay, you're going to the Dorchester house?
Yeah.
Okay. Since you waited for Album, we'll call it like noonish. No problem. Okay, so you guys do that. You guys are heading there. What's going through your minds, by the way, as we're on this road while I pick up the page for that? So
definitely what happened last time we called Delta Green in the middle of an operation, and what happened to that individual. That's what I'm thinking.
I specified criminal defense attorney. That was not code for I need a lady whacked.
I'm pretty sure we don't get to decide their course of action.
That's fair. Yeah, Album, because he loves the conspiracy theories. He's just like staring out the window because Vessel's driving, just kind of like biting his index finger. Like, did I just like? He's also wondering something like, did I just speak in code without knowing I spoke in code?
Okay. All right.
Which interpretation of the code did you think I meant? Because that's not what I meant.
So you pull up. You know exactly where to go. It's like you guys have, modern day tech. You can easily see the address on the business card that you have for Dr. Dallin. You can quickly do like kind of a Google Maps search and everything. But you eventually find it. It is on 48 Norwood Street, Boston, Massachusetts. When you arrive, you can see that it is a very large facility, it's a decently sized facility. It's about 17,000 square feet, 3 stories. You can see that it's surrounded by what looks like some kind of heavy metal gate with sort of anti-climb sloping pointed pointed slats at the top, like these hooks that you would imagine are there to prevent, patient escapes. It's in the Clam Point neighborhood of Boston. It's right next to the Interstate 93. You can see that there's this fairly large dog park, the Dorchester Shores Reservation that you pass by on your way here. And there seems to be two entrances. There's a driveway that winds up to a gatehouse in the main house. And then you can see there's a utility entrance along to the side. Both of them seem to be monitored in some way. And then from what you can tell, just from looking from the street, the drive that leads up to the door, up to the gate, the gate does seem to be currently occupied by security. You can easily, I would say, with all your alertnesses, especially vessel cameras everywhere.
To be let in by security, you said?
There's the whole complex is surrounded by a wrought iron fence with like these anti-climb hooks and stuff at the top. You can see there's tons of surveillance cameras all over the place, and there's two main entrances. One seems to be utility, and then there's like sort of a service entrance for specific purposes, and then there's the main entrance that has a gatehouse that looks to be occupied by security, and you guys can see that from the road. So I'm giving you that info before you decide what you want to do.
I believe he's a friendly here, so I think we'll just pull up.
Go to the gatehouse.
To the main. Yeah.
Okay, so you pull up to the gatehouse. There's no one ahead of you, but when you get up there, you can see this have a somewhat heavy set, like a little overweight African American man steps out, has a clipboard, and he's just says, "Can I help you folks?"
Hi, we're meeting with Dr. Dallin. Is he available?
Who do you have an appointment?
We don't,
no.
but we were sent by a mutual friend.
And he kind of looks, I don't seem to have anything on the, he's kind of going through the papers. I don't seem to have anything on the list for visitation. I can call in. Who should I say is calling here?
Let him know.
Business card that we got didn't have any like note or anything on it. It was literally just the information.
No, when you pull out the card and you kind of look at it, you flip it around, and he's like, "Oh yeah, sure, no problem." And then he's like, "Just 1 second. Let me go ahead and just call ahead." And so you see him go in, gets on the phone, calls in. You guys can't hear anything necessarily through the window. And then he kind of leans out like the gatehouse, and he's like, "Yeah, you guys can go ahead, go right on in." And he's like, "Nurse Huston, not Huston, Orta. I'm sorry. Someone's gonna meet you. Miss Houston will be there for you. Just pull right up, park over there on the visitors lot, and then go right in the main entrance. You guys have a good day." And he hits a buzzer, and the gate opens up. You guys can drive on in.
Nice.
That we do.
Okay, so you drive in. And as you do, hang on 1 second, just checking one setting really quick. All right, so you drive on in, and you park, go into the front door, etc. And you can see at the front desk there is a woman standing there, maybe 5'8" or so, little squat, kind of shorter blonde hair, white clothes on. She's got a little badge, kind of Dorchester badge, has her ID, and you see Houston, and she introduces herself as Gail Houston. She's I'm gonna need, and you would have gotten your gun back at a certain point because yours is properly registered and there weren't any shots fired from it, so I think they would have returned your gun at that point, their vessel. But she says, "I'm going to need you all to sign in, and I'm sorry, sir, but there are no weapons allowed on the premises. We have some lockers over here if you want to go ahead and put them in there. And I'm also going to need cell phones, tablets, anything like that. We have a lot of patients here who we restrict internet access. Basically, we have to be very careful for what everything has. So if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and sign right in there." So she points down to what looks like a sign-in sheet.
Yeah, and then I'll utilize those lockers.
Okay. And so any kind of weapons. So she's like reading off any knives, any any cans of mace, any pepper spray stuff. She's like just listing this stuff off.
Pull out pepper spray from my bag.
Okay. All right. And so you guys all sign in like normal?
Yep. Particularly scribbly handwriting, but yes.
Okay. All right. What names do you put down? Do you put down Marvin Hurwitz album?
That's a fantastic question.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I guess I will.
Okay. All right. Okay. What about you two? What about Vessel and Fawn? What names do you write down?
Fawn Thompson.
Fawn
matters,
Thompson.
Right? I'll just draw a line through
it. Might. Yeah. I mean, a lot about Delta Green is about, are you leaving a trail?
Yeah. No, I'll just draw like a line through.
Okay.
An X.
You don't put a name down at all?
Yeah.
And
there's like a letter X.
She looks at it. She's like, I'm sorry, sir. I'm going to need you to sign in here. And she slides it back to you and I'm going to have to insist.
Okay. I'll go ahead and put. Well, we're not agents this time around, right?
No.
Okay. I'll just put a random fake ID, then I'll put.
This is getting intense, yeah. You're gonna just put a random name down? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Can you give me that name?
Yeah, Xavier.
Xavier. Last name? She's not asking for ID. She's just asking you to sign. She specifically didn't actually ask for ID. She just wants you to sign in.
I'll be Xavier Charizard.
Just put him on. It's name backwards.
What the hell? Xavier Charge? I thought you were about to say Charles. I'm like, Xavier Charles. Wait a second. Oh, God. All right. Xavier. I know. I was thinking the same thing for it. It's Xavier Charles. It's a backwards X-Men. Oh, man. Okay. So she starts leading you. She's like, okay, once everyone's signed in, you put all your stuff away. She kind of does like a little once over and looks at you guys. And like, all right, I can take you up to see Dr. Dallin now. And so she's going to lead you. She gets up in front every now and then. She looks back and she says something. She kind of describes a little bit of it. I'm sure somebody, Nurse Smijna, she's probably going to want to give you a more exhaustive tour. But she just starts pointing out like this is first floor. This is where, the not too aggressive folks are. Then you got the second floor. The higher you go, the more aggressive and dangerous they get. But even the ones down here, although they've earned some privileges, we definitely don't, we want to make sure we can control what we have to. It's all about, it's all about making sure that they're getting predictable patterns of behavior. We don't want to suddenly, give them some kind of stimuli or see random folks just wandering by with guns on phones and things like that. You never know what's going to set one of these folks off. So I hope you don't mind at all.
So album with no humans is like, oh, so you keep the most dangerous ones at the top so that in case they climb out the window, they just take care of themselves.
And she kind of stops and she looks at you. Good one. Yeah. Never thought about it that way. Yeah. And so you guys are like, she's bringing you up to like what looks like, an elevator or so. And there's you see one of the other like orderlies wander by. You can see he's like got a buff looking dude. And he's like, you see him carrying a gym bag and stuff. And they just kind of exchange a look like, hey, what's up? I'm like, hey, what's up? Got to go work on, on 2. And he kind of sees you all huddling around the elevator. He's got this big old freaking gym bag on his shoulder. He's like, you know what? I think I'll go ahead and just take the stairs. And he just walks down the hall and you see him open up a stairwell. You hear it creak open. He uses his badge to what looks like open up whatever the security ID is. And you start going up. as you do, the elevator, someone gets on and gets off, like the elevator at the second floor. You can see it looks like a nurse steps off. Another blonde woman kind of looks at you guys a little bit, kind of gives you a smile, and she just says, visiting? Family? Friends? Something?
See you in the dock.
Oh, okay, sure. You see her kind of cough a little bit, sort of like she's clearing her throat. Okay, sure. And so you go up to the third floor, doors open, she goes one direction, you guys go another, and eventually you're brought into what looks like some kind of office. The office itself has what you think is like an east-facing view, and when you look out, you can see like the curtains have been drawn wide open. There's like this river, I think it's the Neponset River, or Neponset, not sure the pronunciation. But the office is kind of like a classic English study, wooden floor, like a stone fireplace. The desk where Dallin's various tchotchkes and things are set up is comically thin, a little reedy here and there. It's just a big old writing desk. And you can see that there's like ceiling height shelves on almost every wall, and they're filled with books, as you might expect. Just a quick look, and you can see there's like American Journal of Psychiatry, like dating all the way back to like 1983. It's got like 30 years worth of this kind of stuff. One corner of the room, you can see that there's this display case that's kind of catches your eye as you're led inside. It looks like it's got a bunch of rocks, curiously enough. If you peek at it, they all have like little labels here and there, like little hand printed notes. They kind of sit you down, a couple different seats. There's a couch and everything, and so you take your seat. Meanwhile, back in jail, I need you to go ahead and roll a sand test for me, Chelsea. Is Ashley still here?
Yeah. Sand.
Mm-hmm.
All my things freaking out.
Okay. You're in this holding cell. You were allowed out to make a phone call. Did you mention who you called, by the way?
No. But I probably called what's her name? God.
One of your contacts, or
Yeah, one of my bonds. Her name is Stella Varley.
Okay. This is a Delta Green contact, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And what did you do on that sand test?
None of my stuff is filled in anymore.
What's up?
Eek.
Like my health points and all that stuff is zeroed out.
Oh, just the current. All your stats look fine. Just got to punch in the stats. Just got to punch in 11 of 11, 16, 16, etc., etc. All it looks fine.
Okay. My stand, I think I got down to like 62.
Okay. Yeah.
You have so much sanity left.
Yeah, compared to you guys.
Well, it doesn't look like it reset properly. Okay, so your next. Okay.
When I rolled it, I pressed.
All right.
It had 0 in it.
Okay, so you failed.
Yeah.
Take a point of sand from helplessness.
Okay.
As you're waiting around in this this cell, you see around you are a variety of arrests. You got some drug tweakers. You've got some kind of people that look less than savory. More than once, someone kind of looks at you and steps up in your face. It's just like, what's some old woman doing here? Kind of like poking you in the shoulder a little bit. What did you do to get in here? Steal some Metamucil? Like they're just kind of poking away at you, kind of flicking at your hair a little bit. Do you do anything, Ashley?
Starts speaking to them in a cult.
No.
Okay. All right. Eventually, they let you out of the cell, and you make a phone call to Stella Varley, who answers the phone, and she says, "Hello. What did you do?"
I shot my gun in a hotel, and I've been arrested.
Okay. All right. So you know what you did wrong then?
Yeah, I was shooting at something
No.
unnatural.
Do you know what you did wrong then?
I got arrested.
There you go. Okay. All right. They charge you, and at this point, like they've talked it over. They're probably going to like we're still working on getting. Okay. Where are you at again? What city are you in?
And she rattles that off, and
You're in Boston.
Yeah.
Are you on? Are you active?
Yes.
Okay. Roll bureaucracy test. See if she has anybody, any contacts, any Delta Green friendlies, perhaps.
I missed by 2 points.
And she says, yeah, we, no one too friendly. And you can tell she's sort of speaking around it. Like she's using terms that sound familiar because of the call being recorded. No one too friendly to us there. You might be on your own for a little bit.
Okay, I guess I'll hang out.
Okay. Do you know what to do next time?
Yes.
Okay. I'll work on it from my end. But it might be some time. Why don't you sit there and think about what you did? And then the phone hangs up.
Yeah.
Okay. After a little bit more time, you're brought out from your they're brought back to your holding cell. You're there for a little bit. Then you're brought back out. And you're brought into like an interrogation room. And you're set there. And eventually a woman comes in. She introduces herself. It's like, I'm Detective Skahane. You met her briefly at the hotel, but you're a little bit out of it at that point. She kind of explains it. She's like, yeah, we spoke a bit earlier. I'm not sure if you remember. You were kind of babbling a little incoherently. I was hoping, you've got a little bit of time, some perspective. Maybe you can explain a little bit more about what happened. Hopefully you can confirm a few things. We've got information from the hotel. When did you check in, Miss? And she looks. And what's your last name? What's your last name going? What you're going by?
For this one that I'm doing, I'm Rosemary Norman.
Okay, Miss Norman. When did you check in?
I rattle off the exact date that I checked in.
Yeah. Basically, if it's okay if Ashley doesn't remember, just as long if you're lying, just let me know. Otherwise, you're just telling me if you're just telling the truth, that's fine.
Yeah, she's telling the truth.
What for what reason are you like you're not from here? Your identification doesn't peg you as a Massachusetts citizen, resident, I should say. What's your purpose for being here in Boston?
Just traveling, honestly. I want to see each of the states.
Okay, so just here for pleasure.
Yeah.
Okay, see some of the sights in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. You've been here for a couple days. What have you seen so far?
And she like rattles off just some basic things that are popular, and then she brings up the restaurant that she ate at.
Okay. And she kind of looks at him like, I don't know. Maybe doesn't ring a bell. Was it good? There's a lot of restaurants in Boston.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Good. Glad to hear it. And so you said to me earlier this morning that, or last night, however you want to look at it, that you were shooting at an intruder. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And you said you were traveling alone?
Yes.
The man who was with you when you were apprehended, stranger? He seemed to indicate that he was helping you, aiding you in some way, but we have no record of him checking into the hotel. So, Miss Norman, I'm just kind of curious. Traveling by yourself, you say there was an intruder. We have no evidence of there being an intruder. And then there was another man in the hallway. Something just isn't adding up here. Hopefully you can just enlighten me here.
Yeah. So it's kind of embarrassing to, like those singles clubs?
Singles clubs?
Yeah, where like you come out on an adventure with other singles.
Mm-hmm.
He was a single that I happen to be interested in. And I happen to have a very violent ex-boyfriend.
I see.
And
what's your ex-boyfriend's name?
And
she looks at you expectantly, just like I am, ready to write it down.
Yeah, let's pull up a random name generator. I should have had this. I had this up last time, but then I didn't have it up today.
Mr. Clean.
Ew.
Horatio.
It's like a really just like common name. So I'm gonna say like Matthew Johnson.
Matthew Johnson. I see. And he let's see. You're Miss Norman, it says here you're from Virginia. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is Mr. Johnson also from Virginia?
Yes.
So what you're saying to me is that Mr. Johnson has followed you across multiple states, tracked you down in Boston, assaulted you inside of your hotel, managed to get away without any one of Massachusetts state troopers noticing this, or the man who we did find you with being able to corroborate your story.
To my knowledge, he just pulled me out of the bathtub. So.
And you're licensed. We've been told you're licensed to carry, but the gun you have, serial numbers have been filed off of that. You know, that doesn't really look good.
Yeah, I had reported it stolen.
Reported stolen,
and we broke up.
I see. Are you trying to tell me that Mr. Johnson brought the gun with him here? Is that what you're telling me?
I don't know that for sure, but that.
Did you bring the gun here with you?
No.
Okay. So either Mr. Johnson brought it with him, or you happened to lose it here, or whoever stole it from you, it just so happened to have brought it into your hotel room. It's interesting. She makes a note on her pad. Mm-hmm. Did you fire the weapon?
I did.
You did. Okay. And did you take it from Mr. Johnson when he accosted you inside of your hotel room?
When he broke through the wall of the bathroom door.
Right. And so you took the gun off of him. But you just said that he didn't bring the gun with him across. It's interesting. It's like, it seems to be a little bit of a contradiction there. And she starts like writing some things down. You're getting the sense that she's just not really buying your specific story currently.
But Chelsea's gonna stick to it. And
okay. And she just kind of like lets out a sigh, like, okay, well, thank you for your time. Someone's going to go ahead and bring you back to your cell. Very nice of you to cooperate. You had a right to attorney, et cetera, and we will get back to you again. Meanwhile, we'll go back over to the office of Dr. Dallin, where you guys wait around for a few minutes.
One's always up to snoop.
Okay. What do you want to do? What do you want to snoop at?
Is there a table other than the desk that there are things on?
There's like a little coffee
I don't
table.
Want to be caught like right behind his desk.
There's his desk, and there's like a little coffee table in front of the couch that you guys are sitting on.
Okay. I'll nose around the coffee table.
Okay. There's really nothing. It just looks like magazines. They seem to be relatively current. Like when I say magazines, I mean more like journals, like psychiatric medical journals.
Right. Okay. I will poke around one side of the desk so that I can kind of turn quickly if I need to. But let me see what I can see.
Okay. When you say one side of the desk, which side are you poking around in?
The one that's closest to where the coffee table couch area is.
Okay. I mean, like he's got his back basically like it's the classic case of like it's a floating desk, windows behind the desk, back to it, etc. You can spin around and look out the window if you want. So it's just a question of, are you moving around to the front to look through the drawers is really all I need to know.
Sure.
Okay. So you go around to the front. You do notice there is a drawer in here. It does appear to have a small little keyhole. Well, actually, say there's multiple drawers. One of them just looks like when you open it up, it just looks like it has a series of what's it called? Like pens,
like
papers.
Supplies.
Go ahead and roll a search for me really quick. Just looking for something really fast.
Oh, hey.
Did you pass something finally?
I did.
Okay. And then go ahead and roll a luck test.
Oh. That I failed.
Okay. All right. That's weird. I'm sorry. I'm just looking for one little piece of information, and it's not working out. All right. What are the two of you doing while she's searching through the desk?
This is his office.
This is his office. Yeah.
Album is just going to sit on the couch because you said there's a couch in here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's just going to sit on the couch and just kind of observe the room, look around, and see what sticks out to him.
Okay. Yeah. There's the rocks and stuff. That's the only thing that's sort of like out of place. Like he just has like a rock collection. It's not out of place. It's just like you see a bunch of books. Okay, yeah, this makes sense. He's a doctor. Blah blah blah. Medical journals, and then you see like this display case filled with rocks, which looks a little peculiar, but that's about it.
See if he has like photos or certifications on the wall. See maybe where he's at.
Yeah, you do notice that he does have like his degrees and things, and then all of that lines up with what when you and Chelsea were doing research. Like all of it kind of checks out in terms of where he got his degrees from, those types of things. You see a couple photos of like him with what looks like other staff and faculty, other people who might work here or might have been here in the past. You see like there's a picture of like a ribbon cutting ceremony from like 30 years ago when it was open, and you can see there's a little caption that references like how this was like reopened in like I think it was 89 I said before, but nothing catches your attention as being out of the ordinary based upon the research that you've done. Okay. And Album, are you doing anything other than
I don't have any skills with identifying rocks.
Okay.
So Album will kind of call over to Fawn and then point to the rocks and say, "What are those?"
So you see Fawn is currently trying to break into a drawer right now.
Album's gonna just stop as he like points to the rocks and looks, and then he's just gonna say, "What are you doing?"
And I'll say, Vessel, with your 80 alertness, you hear footsteps coming down the hall, and they like you can see you hear two voices, man and a woman's voice. You haven't heard them yet before. Looks like it's a different orderly. The orderly Gail Houston kind of left you guys here. Is there anything in particular that you're doing with that info?
Yeah, I don't know. Someone's coming.
Okay.
Fawn would like to leave and go over towards the couch.
Well, you pop open the little thing, pops up. You rolled your search and succeeded, and you pull open, and there's like some files and things like that. And you notice like there's a little watch, and you just kind of grab it really quickly and just shove it into your pocket as the door opens up, and you quickly close it. and you can see that there is a man and a woman. They're talking. The door's wide open. Had he been looking inside, he would have clearly seen what you were doing. But because he was talking with his woman, and because like you were kind of prepared for it at this point from the alertness of your partner here, but you are still standing behind your desk, his desk, when he walks in, and he's like, hello, hi, Dr. Dallin, and he kind of goes over to Vessel first and shakes his hand, but he's kind of looking over at Fawn at this point.
And then Fawn's going to turn around and just say, great view out the window.
Yeah, it's very relaxing. It's very, very nice. And he turns around. Nurse Simigna, why don't you come back in a few minutes? Let me talk to these guests on my own for a bit, and maybe you can return and give them a tour of the facility. I'm sure they would be very interested to see what we do here. And he kind of looks at you guys for confirmation of that. Like, yeah, okay, all right.
Helm just kind of nods stoically.
And so the woman just, you can tell she's Hispanic. She has kind of darker hair, and she nods and she smiles, and she disappears right in front of you. Roll sand. Door closes. He moves back and he goes around behind his desk. He's like, excuse me, as he stands next to Fawn, who's just kind of hanging there. And he sits down, and he says, my name is Dr. Richard Dallin. I assume you're here about our missing patients. Is that correct?
Correct.
And I'm sorry, I didn't get all your names. Do you guys just give them the names based upon how you sign in? Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, very peculiar, I have to say. Everything. You see him kind of going through some of his drawers, pulling out some files and things like that. I have the patient files right here. If you want to just give me 1 second to make sure I'm not giving you what... let's see. And so the guy itself, I'm going to go ahead and show and share this to you all, what he looks like. You guys can now see a photo of what you're looking at. You can tell he's probably in his 50s, maybe, Caucasian, gray hair and beard, he's got glasses on, kind of smiling face. Seems fairly congenial. But he hands over to you a series of files. And before you only really got the names of the missing patients, Kaldiasa, Tihao, Kim Plaslad, and Ray Bilibas. At this point, he actually hands over to you a series of patient files, and it kind of goes through. I'll go ahead and share that with you guys too. Kind of goes to them a little bit further, and kind of you dig into like who they are, date of birth, age. Gives you a lot of the basic information about like where they live, etc. But then it also talks about their point of contacts, their form, like what they did, like what their employee, their actual roles were in life. So you've got like a FBI special agent, you got a DEA agent, you've got somebody who works at Temple University, you got another person who looks to be some sort of trauma doctor who works at Emory St. Joseph's Hospital in Atlanta. All of them, as you're flipping through this, whoever takes, you guys probably maybe even split the files a bit. A lot of them seem to have issues with stress disorder, PTSD. Some of them have schizophrenia or other types of personality disorders. Some of them severe, some of them with bipolar. So you're seeing a lot of very severe psychological issues. It does look to be 2 male, 2 female. It doesn't look to be any, like the ages are relative, like they're all kind of in line with one another somewhat. Mm-hmm. As you guys are going through those. But yeah, he says, I definitely appreciate whatever you can do to help us with this. We are all very concerned about them. We were really thinking we were going to make some progress with them, trying to get them back into society. But if there's any questions you have, I can tell you, and he starts going through some of his other notes. I think it was a little past 8 o'clock at night on the 28th. discovered that they were missing. They're all third floor patients. I'm not sure if Gail explained to you, but the third floor is where we put our most serious patients, the ones that are a little bit more prone to fits of violence or other kind of issues. But we had them in their rooms as per usual after dinner and before sundown, just before 7 or so, somewhere between 6:30. They were all restrained as per normal procedure on this floor, sedated, locked rooms. Everything seems to suggest that they couldn't have gotten out. But one by one, they were all discovered missing between about 10 after 8 and about 20 after 8, within a couple minutes of each other, one by one. Obviously, our staff was a bit concerned. And have you seen the photo? Kind of looks at you guys. Have you seen the photo? Very alarming message left on one of their rooms.
Yes, we have seen that photo.
Right. So what can I do to help?
These rooms still empty? Are they available?
If you'd like to take a look at them, yes, I can have Nurse Simagina. She can bring you over. Of course.
Or the most common topics that they talked about whenever they were lucid enough to talk.
Well, each of them had their own issues, of course. One of them was a doctor, had difficulty with some of the patients that they lost. Former military, was a medic, and was kind of dealing with some of the trauma that was faced. 2 others were special agents. So, well, one was a special agent, the other was a DEA agent. As you might imagine, it's a very difficult, demanding job. One of them recently lost a friend, in the line of duty, and the last was a law professor at Temple University. A little different, a little not necessarily having some of the same issues that you saw with some of the others, but certainly had some difficulty distinguishing reality from fiction.
What's today? When were they last seen?
They were last seen on 28th of August. It was last week. So this is you guys. This is like what is this, a Wednesday, I believe. I think it's a Wednesday, because I think the meeting you guys had with Exeter was on a Tuesday, and so that should have been September 1st. So this should be September 2nd, and so this all happened last week on the 28th.
Okay. And how long were they admitted here?
They should be the dates in the files there, in the patient files. If you want to take a look at them. And now it's actually Jeff asking. I think I put them in there, but I might have forgotten that.
I don't think admission date is there.
I didn't put admission dates in. Sorry about that. They've been in for some of them for a couple weeks, and some others for a couple months. None of them have been here long term, meaning they haven't been here for more than a year.
Do their files have photos of them?
Yeah, we can get you photos, sure. And I'll say they are. I didn't put them in the handouts I made. I thought we were going to be doing other things, so I wasn't entirely sure we were going to get to this conversation tonight. This is whoopsie. So I just have the text for you. Okay. But yeah, they do not look familiar to anybody.
Okay.
Do their contacts know? Have you told them?
We are obligated, of course, to notify their emergency contacts in the case of an emergency, which I think their disappearance certainly qualifies. But for now, we're keeping it. What do the kids say these days? On the down low. We don't want to alert them until after you've had some time to conduct your investigation.
Makes sense.
The one that had a hard time distinguishing reality from fantasy, what stories did they live out or act out?
Mostly, it had to do with seeing people who weren't there. The idea that loved ones or patients or people they've served with who passed, they would see them sometimes, and they would think that they're still alive. That's very tragic. We're doing whatever we can to help them. And as you can see, that's why we'd be a little bit concerned about them being out there. And it's all very, very confusing. No signs of any kind of breaching in the doors, the walls, computer logs, no door entries between when the patients were put to bed and when the door was opened to investigate their disappearance. Windows were all secure.
Are there any kind of alarm systems whenever a door is opened that shouldn't be opened? Or I'm assuming your camera's footage has been scrubbed through?
We absolutely. Our security has gone through everything, and there's nothing to indicate that their rooms were open other than when we opened them to put them in for bed, and then when we opened them again to examine their rooms and find out that they disappeared.
Is this information all in one location that we could review for ourselves to give it another set of eyes?
Of course. Yes, we could do that for you. No problem.
Have there been any other of your residents that have used that name before? Abigail, the name that was on the wall.
No. Does she mean something to you all?
And so sort of meta question, like he's friendly, meaning...
He's a Delta Green friendly, meaning he's familiar with what Delta Green is. That's Exeter described him as he's a friendly.
Okay. I'll just say yes.
Okay. That name does not ring a bell with myself, anybody on our staff. We assumed it was like a song lyric or something, but we didn't find anything.
And do we know that these individuals have been paired before?
Paired
they
before?
Have shared work history?
Oh, grouped. Have they been in group or anything like that together? We do periodically have some group sessions, and so it's likely that, not just likely, I can confirm that they did have some overlap, but on the third floor, there's not extensive social privileges. It's something that has to be earned over time with behavior and improvement. They don't get a whole lot of free time to congregate amongst themselves, if that's what you're talking about. Pretty much everything that they do here on the third floor is monitored at some point.
Did they seem to interact with each other more so than with others in those limited opportunities?
Not that any of our staff was able to observe, no.
And is there any known information about maybe jobs that they had done before arriving here? Has anyone divulged to you that they might have worked together as, and I'll kind of point to the group, as we are now working together?
And he kind of, I guess, sort of cocks his head slightly to the side. No, nothing like that. No.
And the message was in just one of the rooms?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And which?
That was in Tifa.
Okay. So Thomas's room.
Yeah, Thomas's. Yes.
I'll ask him if that quote on his business card means anything.
Oh, it's T.S. Eliot. Just writer I like.
Do you use that as some sort of code?
Code?
Or
No.
we showed that business card to the guard and we were let in, no problem.
I've been expecting you. I mean, not you three specifically, obviously, but...
Sure. Did you ever do any of this sort of work before being here?
Again, he kind of like crinkles his forehead. No. This has been my job here for, oh gosh, I'm a little embarrassed. 25 years, maybe. Boy, time goes. But no, I'm a researcher. I'm a medical doctor, psychiatrist. And this has been the focus of my professional career for the better part of the latter half of my life.
It's quite respectable. Could I get your opinion on this quote I found? In the red wit inside of men is where all hate sleeps, violence is what frees it.
And he listens to it. Let me roll something.
Bell.
He kind of... Again, he does that kind of crinkled forehead look. I'm just going to do a little roll really quick. Don't mind what it is. You see him hesitate a little bit. I can't say I recognize it. That's certainly not Elliot.
You don't recognize it, but have you maybe heard it somewhere?
It doesn't... Sorry, it just doesn't ring a bell. I'm not...
Sure.
You know, I still listen to Elton John, so I mean, I could probably... It's probably one of them... What was her name? Taylor Swift or something? I hear she's popular.
The initial reaction that he had, is that like a humans type thing?
Go right ahead, yeah. Roll the human.
Does anybody want to volunteer for that? I have a 12.
Can I do it since I asked one?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. You guys, I hope you're checking those boxes. You guys are going to get to increase some skills. Okay. Any other questions I can help you with?
We'll just take a hands-on look for now. Come back to you if there's anything that pops up.
How did the patients respond to the medications they were given?
Well, I mean, honestly, the medication is a constant... It's a process. You know, we put them on one thing, see how they respond, and then sometimes we have to make adjustments in terms of what we put them on or how much we put on them. You know, regularity. So we've seen some progress. Like I said, they've been making progress, but we weren't yet ready to move them down to the second floor. So not enough. You know, it's why I'm concerned.
Okay. And then Album will just kind of say, who should I speak with about reviewing camera records, electronic security system records, and the like?
Absolutely. Nurse Samachina, she's the head nurse here. If there's anybody who's more concerned than I am, it's her. She feels terrible. And if anyone who wants to help as much as I do, it's definitely her. She's going to go ahead and show you what you need to see. I obviously have to tend to patients. I do have several others here that I must tend to. But she can show you around the facility in the meantime, show you the hospital rooms, show you the security rooms, whatever it is you need. No problem.
Will we need to have staff accompany us, or is there going to be some kind of like key card we can use?
You should have gotten a basic key card, and you did. You were given like a basic key card for emergency doors and stuff. But we honestly can't have people wandering around the facility that these patients don't recognize. They don't know who they are. As I was saying, some of these people have difficulty distinguishing reality from fiction, and if they see faces that they don't recognize in the hallway, we don't know exactly how that might set them off. So for the meantime, I think it's best if you stay accompanied by one of the staff. Plus, it's very easy to get lost in this place. It's a big facility, and so we don't want you wandering into a room and suddenly not being able to find your way out. Lots of little nooks and crannies here and there that's easy to get turned around in. I mean, I've been here 25 years, and every now and then I make a left when I mean to make a right, so.
I feel like I need to make a sand roll for that little comment.
Or for what?
Being in a building and not being able to get out of like turns and stuff.
Actually, I mean, like, if anybody would make it, it would be Album, but I'm not gonna force that there. I'm not gonna force that. I think if anyone gets what he's saying there, I feel like Album. Okay. So
quick question. Is anyone here working on a play?
Play?
Yeah.
No.
Just wondering.
No.
If any of the
I don't think so. I mean, people read here. I mean, some people write. Mostly it's journaling. We do journaling classes and things like that.
So nothing that looks play-like?
I'm sorry. I can't say that I know of it. I can ask. I'll ask the staff to see if they've heard anything. But we usually have regular debriefs about observations, and I would have probably heard something like that by now. But journaling is something we do. So.
And how does that get into these records? So do you have journals for these? Do you kind of take photocopies of their journals and put it in the file, or?
If we think it's significant enough to warrant it, sure. But preferably we try not to take if it's helping, especially if it's helping them. We don't necessarily want to take that from them.
So for these folks that are missing, do they have journals somewhere?
I don't think so. If they did, they would be in the file, and I don't see anything here to suggest they had any entries that they've been working on. Third floor, it's still a little bit more of sort of going through the traumatic process of getting them to the stage where they can start reflecting properly, and that's more of a second floor or first floor treatment. So, is there anything else I can help you with?
It's possible we can speak to people that have been released.
Certainly, I suppose that can be arranged. Are there particular people that you're looking to communicate with?
Just in case something comes up, just explore my options. I
can have, I'll have. If you ask Nurse Simagina to put together a contact list of I suppose this is you're checking references. If that's the case, sure, yeah, we can do that for you.
I don't have any other questions.
Yeah, with that, I'm ready.
Okay.
To go look at the rooms.
All right. So he gets up, kind of shakes your hand, and you guys leave. And right outside the door, you see Nurse Samagina. I think I have a picture for her too. Let's see if I have that. I can show you guys. Maybe I don't. Oh yeah, I do. There we are. Go ahead. So she's right outside the door, kind of a concerned smile on her face. She introduces herself. She and Dallin have a word. He says they'd like to go see the room with the, if that's okay. So go ahead and take that over there, and security, obviously, whatever else you need. And I gotta go do my rounds, and so they gotta do some business. And she wanders down so she takes you guys down the hall. She kind of talks a little bit, like kind of curious who you people are, kind of pokes around, but you get the general sense that she seems fairly concerned. And when you get into the room, which she lets you in, you pass by what looks like a couple patients and stuff along the way. You kind of move off to the side, and there's some orderlies and such, so they're helping them along. Fawn, you catch a moment when you see that the nurse is talking with Vessel and Album to actually get a quick look at what you snagged from the desk. You just kind of peek down on it. And it takes a moment as you look at it, because it just looks like a normal watch at first glance. Nothing strange about it in the least. But as you're looking at it, something kind of catches your attention, something a little bit odd. And you notice that there's no numbers on it. It's like a classic clock, classic, the dial. You get the minute hand, hour hand, second hand, etc. It's pretty peculiar because it has like symbols. It looks like there's like letters and stuff in the places where there's supposed to be numbers, like the 12, the 1, the 2, the 3. You notice that as you're watching, you see the second hand kind of ticking around. You realize that the letters aren't random. They're not Roman numeral, but they seem to suggest a message of some kind. And you see that starting at the 12, ALONG THESHOR, and R being the 11, along the shore. And then you flip over and you realize that there's an engraving on the back of the watch. It says ETH ECLOUDW space AVE space S space B space REA space K dot THET WINSU. And we're going to go ahead and stop there for some. We'll dive into what that means next time.
Goodness.
Okay.
You look down at the watch and it steals your soul.
You look down at your watch.
Right?
Roll a sanity. Take 95 points of sanity. It steals your soul.
Oh my gosh.
So we're going to stop there. Yeah, let's stop there for now. Because there's some things I want to put together. Because I got to look into it. Like, I knew Album was going to get arrested, and I figured that would have been fine. We're going to be okay. I was very surprised that you guys just didn't run or something. I thought for sure. I was like, okay, I got little chase rules out, ready to go. Okay, and if they try to get into the staircase, they could roll this and they could roll that, and like I'm like, oh, they just gave up. Okay,
and that wasn't my mind, but I just blind.
Yeah, it was just like, man, like I'm like, all right, we'll figure this out. And Ashley's already rolled a backup character that we can throw in there in case we need to once she gets shanked.
Yeah, we'll see if the mysterious satellite phone call helps her out or not.
Yeah.
Please for help.
Okay. Don't forget that you roll your D4 for anything you fail.
Everything that we failed.
So I think
all of them.
There were a lot of failed rolls tonight. It looked like
there were.
Thanks.
Unfortunately, it's only there wasn't a lot of sanity rolls, so that's good, right?
It's true. Just a helpless roll, I think.
Just to help this, not much, which is great. That's good. That's really good, right? So we're getting slowly back on track. We will be back on track shortly. Okay. Yeah. So let's see. What else we got going? So our next game's tomorrow. What's up?
Worlds Without Number.
Yeah, tomorrow's our next game. So Saturday, Worlds Without Number. We should be starting up. That should be me, Ashley Long, and Melissa as we are playing through a science fantasy game using Worlds Without Number. Long went down a long, dark ladder to who the hell knows where. So we'll find out where tomorrow. So you want to come check that out. Mondays, we usually play either Alien or Things from the Flood. We are off from Alien this Monday. We might be doing a one-shot in place, though, of something else just for funsies. And then next Friday, we'll be back with more Delta Green, and onward we go. You can also catch me on other channels. I'm on Garblag Games on Tuesdays as we're playing some Spectaculars. Wednesdays, I'm on DOK, Defenders of Cobalt, and other places. So lots of places you can come find us. Thank you for those of you who hung out tonight. Thank you for those of you who followed. Thanks we saw some new names in the chat tonight. Definitely appreciate that. And those of you who are watching on YouTube or VOD, yes, in Meat City. Definitely in Meat City, in the meat packing district, where Meat Man prowls the night. But we're going to go ahead and throw it on the end screen. We're going to find a raid because we got some friends that are playing right now. I know the Defenders just started up a new Alien campaign tonight, so we're going to throw it over to them, and you can watch some more of their stuff. So thank you, everybody, and have a good night.